My name is Dan Fagan, Vice Chair. I'm going to be chairing the meeting this evening. Secretary James White, can you take the roll?
Dallas. Here. Is it Mike? Kifle?
Oh, Kipling.
Kiflin? All right. Bates. Fry.
Here.
Is that? Am I saying it correctly?
Is it, how do you have it listed? Really, is it Bates hyphen Fry?
Mhm.
Yes. You can say that.
Barnacle.
Here.
Fagan.
Here.
Maddox. Josh Maddox.
Here.
Sean Maddox.
Here.
Winning. I'm also here. Mohammed.
Here.
Bruno.
Here.
Kepler.
Here.
Klein. I'm here. Paxton. Here.
Great, thank you. So at our last meeting, we did not approve the minutes from November's meeting. So they've both been presented by our secretary just a little while ago in email. Some of us had a chance to read them. On the agenda is the approved the November and December minutes. I make a motion to approve them with the way they are. Jenny seconding that. Any discussion? I make a motion that we approve the minutes for November and December. Sure, let's do that. Let's do a roll.
Dallas.
Yes.
Mike. That's not what I'm saying, right? Sorry. Well, how do you pronounce your last name again?
Kipling.
Kifle. Did I say it right? Kifle. Was that a yes or a no on the meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Bates Fry.
Yes.
Barnacle.
Abstain.
Fagan.
I'd like to abstain also.
Josh Maddox.
Yes.
Sean Maddox. Winning. I'm also a yes. Mohammed. Yes. Bruno.
Yes.
Kepler.
Yes.
Klein. Paxton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, James. Any changes to the agenda? If you don't have a written agenda, I think we've got additional copies. Thanks to Simon. Do you have additional copies? You just have one? Okay.
We have more.
You have more over there, if anybody else wants to see a copy of the agenda. I'll give you a chance to look at that.
Under old business and the appointments, Chelsea Goldman's name has been left off.
Duly noted, under Roman numeral 6, under old business, we have 4 folks that would possibly be in the appointed seat. So the Chelsea Goldterman is been omitted from the agenda, so you can add her.
I believe the bylaws state that the election of officers should be at the beginning of the meeting, but I would need to reference them. I didn't look at them before I saw the agenda.
Anybody have an issue with them going first? It's not being discussed.
Well, this is a procedure. I think our bylaws say that the elections of officers will happen at the beginning of this meeting. So we're just going to verify that really quickly.
Election of officers shall be held at the regular commission meeting in January. This meeting shall consist of all commission members who will be serving in the next commission year and shall be presided over by previous chairperson who will retain voting rights only if serving in the coming commission year. Presiding chairperson shall request from the floor nominations for each office, votes cast, and offices filled in the order in which they appear in Article 2, Section A. If the previous chairperson is unavailable, the officer preside will follow the order of officers in Article 2, Section A. don't see anything that specifically states when during the meeting, just that it would be done at the regular commission meeting in January. If you're looking at Article 2, officers, I read section C. There is an officers A and B, but neither one appears to talk about proceedings.
Yeah, I think that I think you're right that it's not explicitly stated, but it is implied because the previous chair must preside over the beginning of the meeting and the election of officers. The previous chair would no longer be a commissioner. Then doing it later would require the previous chair to chair the entire meeting rather than just the beginning.
I agree. I don't see anything that says they can't do that, but yes, I see your logic.
Yeah, it just, my motion would be to change the agenda to have the election of officers at the beginning of the meeting. Just to clarify the officers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that. Not that test, only a test.
I'll second.
I have a question. Does it mean that because the appointment was supposed to be in the last meeting and they were delayed because we didn't submit something, does it mean that appointment should be done before the election of officers?
No, not necessarily, because the whoever's appointed cannot seat today anyway, because they would have to wait 30 days in order to take their seat. So there's not really any point in having it sooner.
But to that, though, if we would have done it last month, they would be seated.
Yes.
That's correct.
So technically it doesn't make sense in that sense.
But if we had done it last month, then they would be seated now, but since we didn't, they still have to wait 30 days.
So the motion to move the election of officers and seconded by the discussion that we need to have about this. Okay. Can you hear me? Don't know what a job I'm gonna do, passing the mic around, and try to get a real big. So yeah, let's, we have something else to vote on. So we're gonna move the election of officers, right now in front of the agenda. Before we have to do this.
It's just roll call. Yeah, no roll call, voice vote.
So, everybody in favor of moving the officer election on?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? Okay. So we will move, so any other changes to the agenda? That was one other, we got any other changes? Okay. Okay, so, we're going to elect, a chairperson for the Greater Town Area Commission. So, floor is open for nominations.
I would like to nominate Dan Fagan for chair, please.
Second that.
Thank you. Any other nominations? Okay, then let's do a voice vote. The vote to have Dan Fagan, the chair of the Greater Town Area Commission for this year of 2022. So yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Anybody voting no? Anybody abstaining?
I have a clarifying question. So new commissioners can't vote in this?
You
Is
can.
that what I said? Oh, okay.
Okay. Yes.
Nominate the,
Okay. So the conversation before, I'm going backwards. The conversation before was concerning what?
The new appointed seat that will be elected later on in the meeting tonight.
Okay,
This will be.
I got you.
congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. I am so pleased. I thank you very much for your votes. I'm thrilled to do this. Excited to talk about the next officer position, which is vice chair. So the floor is open for nominations.
like to nominate James White for vice chair, moving from his current position as secretary.
I'd like to second that nomination. Any other nominations for vice chair?
I would like to nominate Victoria.
Like to nominate Victoria?
No points came, right?
Yes.
Victoria Bates.
This Victoria?
Did everyone accept the nomination? You didn't do that with your Dan, I'm sorry.
Yes, I accept.
You
Excellent.
accept it, Victoria, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, any other nominations for vice chair?
I'll second for Victoria, or we have to split.
No, we don't have to do
Okay.
that. I'm good.
Okay, so we'll take a roll vote. James, if you could take a roll vote. For James White or Victoria Bates Fry for the position of vice chair.
Before we take a vote, can anyone who wants to speak in favor of either speak?
Oh, thank you very much. Rachel is asking, Winnie is asking if either of the candidates would have an opportunity to speak or somebody to speak on their behalf of this. That's your question. Great. James, would you take a couple minutes?
For those of you who don't know, my name is James White. I've been the current area commission secretary for the past 2 years now. Really involved with our Parks and Rec committee, co-chair human service and education. We're ramping up on a lot of that stuff when it comes to tackling this new facilities master plan with the city of schools. I'm also trying to get partnered with the Shalom Zone, reached out to Councilor Faber's office today, with Shalom Zone had tackled the homeless issue here in Hilltop. Very dedicated and motivated to the commission, and anybody has any questions, so we have.
Thank you, James.
Thanks, everybody.
Victoria Jones.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Victoria Bates Fry, and I'm new commissioner. I'm so excited about this appointment. I have been a Hilltop resident for 35 plus years. I have been very instrumental in community awareness. I have a nonprofit myself, and just ensuring education first for our students. I'm an educator. I've been in education for 20 plus years. I'm the VP of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and HR for our educational charter school. And I have served on the board of the American Red Cross. I've been the chair on the American Red Cross, Ohio American Red Cross. I've also served on the Diversity Leadership Council for the Red Cross, and I established a youth diversity leadership council for the Red Cross here at Columbus. So this appointment was surprising. This is not an appointment, this nomination. I'm excited if it goes through, and I will continue to be an advocate for the residents of St. Louis.
Thank you both. So, Secretary, could you take a look at their roll?
Yes. Dallas.
James White.
Clyde. White. Sorry. Next person. Kiflett. I will get it eventually, I promise.
Victoria?
Bates Fry.
Victoria?
Barnacle.
Bates Fry.
Fagan.
White.
Josh Maddox.
James White.
Sean Maddox.
James White.
Rachel Winning. Mohammed. Britta.
White.
Kepler.
James White.
Klein.
Paxton, it's a 9-3, white. For vice chair.
James, congratulations.
Thank you.
So James being now elected our new vice chair, there's the secretary position open, so we're going to nominations for the secretary position.
I'd like to nominate Ms. Kepler.
No.
Okay.
No, thank you.
I'm very much understood. I just wanted to say that I really appreciate the way that you do your business, and I think you would be an excellent secretary.
You're so good to me.
That being said, I completely understand.
I am not nearly organized enough to be secretary, so that humbled me very much that you even remotely thought of me in that position, because yeah, that is very kind, but no, I would not be good at it, so, okay, thank you for this.
Is there a chance to vote?
Can I nominate myself in this world of impossibilities we're talking about?
So I don't know if it's appropriate now, but what I'd like to do with this chair is to make sure we get some assistance with taking notes of this meeting. Somebody that can be truly dedicated to that, so our secretary can actually participate in the meeting. We do have some funds from the city able to support that kind of position. So it's the idea that you're not interested in this position because you wouldn't be able to participate or have any tasked with that. I created a whole job description and kind of an idea of what we can do with some support for secretary. So I just do want to say that encourages anybody to step forward.
I would like to say that it is not hard by any means. I've definitely put a lot more work into it than I probably should have. Probably more than most people probably would in a whole entire career. But the fact being said, I do have everything set up to where we could do it if anybody really wants to. And it's not like I'm going anywhere over the next year. So just adding that out there. Most likely also have a laptop with me, taking notes, so even if you're wanting to take a break and actually be involved, you can. I will say that past couple of months, I've been trying to get more involved, taking a step back from taking notes, and it hasn't really, my point of view, affected the notes too bad, other than you have technical issues the past 2 months. I'll say that's this laptop, so.
Rachel has a hand up?
I suppose I have kind of a suggestion or an idea. I am willing to take the notes during the meeting if someone else will edit and send them out. Because I know myself, I will not send them out. So I'm totally willing to take them and give them to someone.
I will do the sending out.
Okay.
Sorry, nominate yourself.
I'm nominating myself for the second half of that.
So I will nominate myself for secretary on the assumption that Leah is going to assist me in that role.
Under secretary.
This is not always real attractive.
Under secretary, I'll take it if I can.
You just do co-secretary. You're both secretary, you're both involved.
Change your thought.
I mean,
I retract it.
I don't want to change the description of the position because that's going to be too complicated. I guess I would just say the responsibility falls on me. So if Leah is too busy or out of town or whatever, then I would do it. But Leah is agreeing to do that.
Well, I think the key thing with this role is, the notes are important, but it's also just really important for our record retention policy. So whoever, one of you two will want to have the official responsibility of making sure that you're cataloging those records in a way where you'll be able to access them through a public information request, or you know, so that probably one person should be like assigned to that role, and then, you know, if you are happy typing, and maybe Leah wants to lead on that, or however you want to do it.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying, like, I would be the main secretary and that responsibility.
I think it's gonna be real important for the person in this role to work closely with community relations, just to make sure that all of the work that we're doing is being collected, shared with the people we need to be sharing with, et cetera. So, okay, Rachel, thank you for nominating yourself. Any other nominations for the secretary position? Okay, let's take a vote for our, well, we don't really have to take a vote, do we? So Rachel, Minnie, thank you. Congratulations on being secretary this year. So the last officer position we have is for our treasurer. Sean Maddox is currently in that position, so we're going to take nominations for the position of treasurer.
I'd like to nominate Sean Maddox.
Yeah. Second? I'm second.
Any other nominations for our treasurer? Sean, you will do the role for this year.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations. All right. On that note, our treasurer is going to do his report.
Okay, so we started the month with $2,499.65. We had no income this month. Expense-wise, we wrote one check to Bertha for the banners on the sheet, so that left us with a balance of $2,345.68. We've only had two expenses all year, so. So if anyone has anything that they need to spend, please do so.
So just to clarify, banners on the sheet is an organization.
Yeah, it was a payment that Bertha made, and we actually paid for it. And I believe it was the banners for.
Those are the
craft
retractable banners that we are using.
Wasn't it a print shop?
There's a vendor, that's actually an
It is a
online vendor, yes.
It was online.
Mhm.
Oh, I understood. Okay, great. Okay, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to Rachel Winnie for her leadership over this past year. Rachel's done a phenomenal job. Throughout this last year, it's just an interesting time, hasn't it? Meeting on Zoom and coming back together, and just wanted to say thank you for everything you've done for GHAC and we've been doing this last year. Okay, cities have updates. When we start with this agreement? You want the mic, Melissa?
What was that, sorry?
Can I give you the mic? If you come stand up there, the camera that's right here. So you can not only be on the camera,
Wonderful, thank you. Yeah, and thank you so much, Rachel, for stepping up and serving. Dan, welcome to your role as chair, really exciting time. My name is Melissa Green. I'm the West Side Liaison with the City of Columbus Department of Neighborhoods. I don't really have any specific updates, but I do want to talk to you so I know like COVID numbers are increasing. There are a lot of concerns with meeting in person. I share those same concerns as well as someone who's like baby has now had COVID twice. There's nothing more gut wrenching than being a mom and not being able to like do something for that. But our hands are tied as far as like the Ohio legislature is concerned with being able to hold meetings virtually. But we are looking at options, and really the ball is kind of in your court with whether or not you want to look at a hybrid remote option, which I would really encourage you to do. And it
probably would be easiest for the commission if it looks similar to the way that we are meeting virtually in the summer. I know this camera here that you guys have bought, I think it's gonna be a really helpful tool. If that's something that you wanna do, because I believe it has the ability to stream live online through Zoom. I also think there's an ability for you to download an app that's connected to this camera, and you can use your phones as microphones at each of your tables, or have a few people who have microphones set up on their phone. And then you could permit people to either participate on Facebook, or on the Zoom link, if that's how you want to do it, or some combination of the two. I know there are commissions who are having all of their developers even just present on the Zoom, and then they live stream that there. And the key thing is that as a commissioner, in order to vote, you have to be in person. And so then you can stagger it, use the camera, however you want to do that. I would encourage us, especially right now, while the numbers are kind of soaring, to try to keep commission business to like the essentials, like what we were doing at the beginning of the pandemic. And then I would also ask if maybe Josh, if you would be amenable to this, I guess Rachel, since you're still chair, kind of appointing Josh to have a community relations commission meeting where he can figure out all these details for next month. I think that you're well suited, you know the camera, you understand the stuff. It could just be you putting together a plan as a committee of one if you wanted to limit distance, or consulting with some other folks, and then trying to move to that model in February. I apologize, we've been kind of going back and forth. This is kind of walking the line in doing it this way. We certainly couldn't prohibit people from coming to a meeting, but if we provide the options for folks, I think that people will come virtually, and I would ask all of you who are engaged in this meeting today, as we're looking at these alternative approaches, if you would consider joining us virtually, just so that we can try to keep everybody safe and put a pause on this while the numbers are really increasing. It's really scary. A lot of people are taking out home tests. I don't think we really have any concept of what the exposure in our community is right now, because they're not getting reported. So to consider, that's my only real update. Certainly doesn't have to be something that we decide today, but I think as long as we can make sure that there's appropriate public notice when you guys put together that plan, we can just move that direction. And again, it's not going to change your in-person meeting schedule. So this isn't something that you would have to vote on or do anything like that. You're still going to be meeting in person wherever you need to be. The logistics of how you're going to do that, as far as who the people that are going to download the app are, where you're going to be meeting, which I assume will still be here, and then making sure to advertise alternate ways that people can participate in this meeting, coordinating with developers to make sure they understand their approach. So it's not going to be something that this commission needs to vote on. If Josh can just put together, whoever, then you can move forward with it that way and be within your legal requirements. Does that make sense?
It does. So Melissa, right now with this camera, we're streaming on social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube. So we bought the product called Restream to be able to do that. So we're streaming as we speak right now. So there are people that are most likely logged in and watching the meeting right now.
Yeah.
So my question would be, if we decide we would like to do a hybrid meeting, how do commissioners just attend this full commission meeting next month? We shut the doors to the public, or we still say we can open, it's an open meeting? We need to allow the chair, for instance, to be here.
You cannot shut the doors to the public, legally speaking. Right. But it would be the same way that, like city council or, they've really pushed these online meetings. And I think that people participate in that, if not more than the way that people come to in-person meetings. So I think as long as we can provide the option to people, I feel like they will take advantage of it.
So we can fully allow developers, on presentations, any kind of presentations we would like to have, call a phone in person meeting, do a presentation.
Yeah,
we can push that in the stream.
Yeah, and that's probably going to be the one thing that you'll want to look at with Josh, because I know right now, when we have live streamed onto Facebook using Zoom, we were all on our individual boxes. So figuring out how to merge this camera with the Zoom and the live stream so that people can, presenters like our developers, that's going to be a little bit more of figuring out, I know the tech has those capabilities, we haven't done it before, so, you know. Yeah. But yeah, and then just, you know, and feel free to put it out there too, just say, you know, we are asking you to please, you know, attend this meeting virtually. You know, we're trying to limit audience members, X, Y, and Z. But you can't like blockade the doors or anything. I'm looking at you, Dan, because I know.
Exactly. No, just to let people know that might be viewing right now, there's about 16 people on the audience right now. So 6 people. But it'll be recorded. Great.
Yep.
I might be reading a little bit off my tablet, so you can see. I can do this or just be really loud. Hi, everyone. I see some new faces. My name is Avery Thompson. I'm with Columbus City Council and their Community Engagement Office. I mostly oversee the West Side. And I need to grab my student faces so I can grab new emails, but I'm mostly going to reiterate what I sent out in the email today. The number one being that the Council Residential Districting Commission's Map A was adopted by City Council. For all of his work on that, City Council on December 13th. So you are primarily in District 6, in the state's hair in District 7 there at the bottom. So that will go into effect in the 2023 election. You can also see the other area commissions, District 6. You scroll down to the next page. There. And you can see other area commissions that are in your district. It's primarily Hilltop and Westland and a little bit of Southwest, and then you go to the little slivers in District 7. So that's an informational packet. It has also the links to all of the community engagement that was done and all of the available information that was out there on that process. But we're very excited about it. If you're interested in watching the council members debate, that was a 7-hour-long meeting. It's at the hour 4 mark on YouTube, if anyone's interested in watching that. And then last night, we had our annual reorganization meeting. And since we have 2 new council members, there's actually lots of changes in terms of committee assignments. So if everybody doesn't mind, it won't take very long, but I just wanted to go through the new council members and the old council members, because they switched up their committees as well, what committees they now chair, because there have been changes. So Councilmember Nicholas Bankston is now chairing Economic Development, Small and Minority Business, and Technology. Councilmember Lourdes Barroso de Padilla is chairing Public Service and Transportation, Neighborhoods and Immigrant, Refugee, and Migrant Affairs Committee. So that's also a new committee that was expanded from neighborhoods, just to more accurately define what the Department of Neighborhoods has already been working on. Let's see. And Barroso de Padilla is also chairing Veterans and Senior Affairs. Councilmember Elizabeth Brown is retaining Finance, Recreation, and Parks and Education. Long document. I also sent this out in an email if anybody's interested. Councilmember Rob Dorans is retaining public utilities, but he is also taken over as the zoning chair in awaiting Councilmember Tyson's retirement. So you'll be working with him. And then Kevin McCain is his aide, but Andrew Dyer is staying on as the legislative advisor for that committee. So I'm sure people have worked with him in the past. Councilmember Dorans is also taken over workforce development and building and zoning policy, which was a new committee about 6 months ago. I'm not 100% sure we even had a real ordinance in it. We're trying to get that committee kind of up and off the ground. Councilmember Faber retained criminal justice and judiciary. She has now taken on health and human services. Councilmember Green has taken public safety, environment, and administration. And Council President Shannon Hardin has retained rules and reference. So that's going to be 2022. We have our next meeting back, that's next Monday, January 10th at 5. As usual, and we will be seeing the Charter Review Commission as well as the commission on elected official compensation. So those were open applications over the past month, and he'll be reviewing the charter. It'll be a very similar, not very similar, to CRBC, but still hopefully a robust process of public engagement as we go through that. The charter is super important. So if anyone has any questions for me, if I need to get some contact information, you can grab me after and we'll get that sorted out. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Look out. Did you say the part of District 7 is
Yes.
the hilltop area? Is that listed in the
So we
District
went on
7 note?
District 7, you see it right there at the top.
So is that little part?
Yeah, it's that little tiny part.
So in the comments or in the District 7, it doesn't say that.
It is, so can you slow down a little bit? It's like here is actually under the map where District 7 starts. So
Right,
District
yeah.
7 starts down here and then scroll up to the top right. Very top.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just a little sliver. So that's, does anyone else have any other questions?
Hey, everybody, I'm Zach Gwynn with the Columbus City Attorney's Office. I am the West Side Zone Attorney handling nuisance abatement, vacant abandoned properties, properties of chronic criminal activity. Only update, last month we had 3 abatements. Properties were at 140 Columbian, 458 Neshoba, and 30 South Eureka Avenue. And on a couple of these, we had some assistance information from residents, and always appreciate folks who are willing to speak up when they've got an issue on their street. If you ever have a property like that, any type of vacant, abandoned, anything like that, never hesitate to reach out. Happy to help folks with that. And that's about it from me, short and sweet. Questions for that?
Let's do the Dorsey here. I'd like to include with city staff updates, just, Dan, who is president manager for Vision Health. I'd like to put her on the agenda for the city updates. So Dan, the plan to be this. And then sorry to go over, So let's move on to committee reports. We had committees, a lot of these committee committees in December, so I ran a lot of report. I'll start off with the liquor permit review committee. We did not meet in December. Our next meeting is on Monday, January 24th. We'll be 6 p.m. at the library. The owner of Safeway Mini Mart has agreed to come to the meeting to speak with us. His establishment is currently one of the permits that were suggested not be renewed for this next year, so look forward to meeting with them. Invite you to come to that committee meeting on Monday. Government legislation.
We did not meet in, what is last month, December. Currently, we have a meeting scheduled for next Monday, January 10th, 7 p.m. Actually, no, it's almost done. Agenda to be determined. Stay tuned. We will post it on Facebook. Thanks.
Let me know if you want the mic or not, just project. Public safety, we did not have a meeting last month.
But can I give a quick update? Would that be okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, the major item that I want everybody to know is that January 29th seemed like the best date for Trash Summit follow-up, because it'll be 6 months and we have several items that are taken care of or are working. So I have met with Melissa and we thought that this is a good day to bring council members back in the community and do so. That would be a discussion for the commission if January 29th would work. This is a good day. The other thing is that we are also following up on public safety for youth, and we will discuss that event later on. So yes, thank you.
Any questions?
We didn't meet this month. Josh, do you have the next meeting date?
The next meeting date will be January 25th at Parkside Church, or Parkview United Methodist Church in the parlor. Correct. More to come on that.
Or like participation.
Yes.
Melissa, just to make sure everybody heard your comment, what did you say?
I said, you know, in-person meeting, participation potentially virtually for my city attorney friends that are there.
Okay. So I think what Melissa, what you're suggesting is that every committee meeting we have, we look at some kind of a hybrid approach if possible.
Yeah, I would just keep it as consistent as we can across all of the meetings.
Yes.
I mean, even to protect the health of our commissions, we've got probably right now about 10 commissions across the city that have had so many people that have either contracted or been exposed to COVID, they don't have a forum.
Sure.
They can't even conduct business, so.
For folks that are listening, there's just a number of commissions that we can't even meet right now because of COVID exposure. So we will be looking at having hybrid meetings. So for example, if you don't meeting at the library, we could set up a Zoom meeting and all folks. So Jay, you have the mic for Parks and Recreation.
Sure.
Sorry.
Matt, we're gonna start with, we're gonna do Parks and Rec and then Human Service and Education after that. We did meet last month. We had 2 people from City of Columbus come out and talk to us, just more in-depth information about what's going on in Hilltop with our parks and explaining to them our audit process and our ideas for other parts in the Hilltop and what we'd like to see done. And we're getting there with it. I'm very optimistic that we're going to start seeing a lot more park improvements over the next 3 to 5 years. A lot of it's a very long, tedious process, but we can be assured that myself and Mr. Paxton are very dedicated and working on it. Really excited about the lower level at Glenwood. We got more money allocated to it. Pool is finally coming through. We're super excited about everything that's happening in our Parks and Rec department here on the hill. Josh, do you have anything?
Just that. So our top few picks for like which parks need the most love. The city also has a few of those in their scope as well, so we should be seeing some improvements from the capital improvements budget. Is it?
Yes.
From or going towards those parks, whether it's new playground equipment or new paths or multi-use trails. So yeah, the city is definitely taking notice of the needs that each park requires.
And then real quick, for Human Service and Education, again, I was asked to be on the lead board for this facility master plan. As of today, we are not going to be next week from the union aspect of it. Not enough people attending the meeting have quorum, so just a little more or less information on that. Any comment or opinion that would came from that committee does not seem like it's going to be submitted to City of Columbus schools for their decision on what and how to keep this facility master plan going. We'll talk about that, but I won't have more information at our committee, which will be the 19th at 5:30 at the library. And I apologize, I forgot to say it about Parks and Rec. We will also be meeting at the library on the 15th. We'll be meeting at the library at 9 a.m. for Parks and Recreation. Just to jump back and close up, Human Service and Education. Like I said earlier, I did reach out, try to come up with some marketing plans and tactics to help those struggling in our community with homelessness. So if you are any interest, again, not just Human Service and Education, maybe that any of our subcommittees, we encourage you to attend. They're all open to the public. I swear none of us will bite. Running one up here, that I just want to wish one was.
Thank you. For planning and economic development committee didn't meet in December. This one, the chair's report, did you have anything you'd like to? No, okay. Patrick,
We heard two applications last month. Before we get to those, I'm just gonna read off the upcoming applications for the January 18th, 5:30 PM meeting at the Hilltop Library, third Tuesday of the month. First one that will be is CB 21-152. That's 106 South Wheatland Avenue. That is for the Highland Youth Garden. They're requesting office use in a residential district. CB 21-121, that's 1945-1947 West Broad Street. The applicant missed the previous meeting by the applicant's own error. That is for the former flower/confectionery shop that is on the West Broad with the building overlooking it. The one's right there on West Broad when you go turn off the highway. And then the final one is Z 21-092. This is original zoning. It's annexation for C2 version here. So it currently is in Franklin Township down there, in the Franklin Prairie. They're being annexed to zoning. They're requesting C2. We have two applications for tonight that came out of the committee. So the first one is Alpine Road. This passed out of committee, 5 votes to 0. Present were Barnacle, Fagan, Maddox, Paxton, and Phillips. Applicant.
Good evening, my name is Jill King, and I'm an attorney with Board of Staters in one case. I'm on behalf of the applicant. Joe Thomas is also here with me. He is with Metro Development, who is also the applicant. And we're gonna pass out some hard copies to, of our presentation here. Some of you may be familiar with this site. It is currently known as the Outfire Woods Single Family Subdivision, and then the Brookfield Apartments. This is the site that we're looking at rezoning. This project was originally developed in 2004 as a single family project. And then in 2009, we came back and asked to modify that single family project to allow for some townhomes and some apartment buildings. And then, unfortunately, we weren't able to finish out some of the single family lots. So we are asking to convert those remaining single family lots into a multi-family project to add 2 additional apartment buildings. So you can probably click through some of these here. So this just shows the site of Alfire Road, southwestern, runs through the site. Let's see. And this is our site plan, and again, we've got some hard copies floating around. And it looks a little bit different than what we showed you in the zoning committee, if you were part of those meetings. We didn't change anything about the site plans. We just retitled them, so now it's sub-area 1 and sub-area 2. We originally had it divided up into 3 sub-areas, and after talking with the city, because the 2 new multifamily buildings that we are proposing will be part of the existing Brookfield Apartments, it made more sense for it to all be combined as 1 sub-area. Which is probably a good thing. It also lowered the zoning category and the density on the project overall, so I think it made more sense to do it that way. but we didn't change any of the building locations or anything on the actual site plan that you see. So, the buildings that we're adding are the tiers on this lower part here to here. Right now, this area is, single-family lots that were never developed. And then we have a 1 acre open space, that we will be preserving. And then this is the existing work field that will stay exactly the way it is. And this is the existing single family that will stay exactly the way it is. So the only change is those two buildings there. And as part of the proposal, we worked really closely with the Alpine Place Homeowners Association. Those are the folks here. We certainly appreciate all the time that they gave us in the process to commit to adding some trees and better maintaining this open space area. And then also making repairs to the existing fence and extending that around. And also addressing some mowing and other maintenance issues in the process. We were able to add all of those commitments into the zoning text, which I think is a good thing for everybody. That means it gets enforced by the city of Columbus. And so I think, and city staff has already approved that text, so I don't have any issues on those commitments. And I sent that to Mr. Barton to review.
I didn't get it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so that was gonna be my question. Do you have a copy of the L text and I haven't seen it?
No? Huh. Okay. You didn't get any of the,
I did not see anything for communication for recent third zoning committee.
oh, goodness. Okay, I sent an email message to you again. The Elkhart Place HOA on the 27th.
The 27th. It might have somehow gone to my spam, but I got my email today, so nothing from it.
Oh, okay. Well, I think in follow-up to our zoning committee, I think the discussion was to make sure that we added the commitments that we made to the zoning text. I think the only open concern we had was whether or not city Columbus staff would allow us to have all those commitments in the zoning text. They have approved it, so we were able to put, specifically very specifically, the fence requirements, the ongoing maintenance, the open space, and the ongoing maintenance, all of those are included in the text. So, I'll be happy to answer any questions that anyone has on that, issue. Again, I know the zoning committee met with us 3 times, the Elkhart Place folks met with us a number of times. We really appreciate everybody working through, this with us and giving us an opportunity to finish out this development. So I'll be happy to answer questions.
I just have a brief question. So when you now made it just 2 sub areas instead of 3, and I don't know what's here yet, but has it changed any of the zoning?
So what we had originally proposed was, it didn't change anything that really matters, and I think it actually made one change beneficial for you. When we did this originally, we had sub area 1, and then this was 3. Because this area was so small, the zoning category had to be AR1, which has a pretty high, I think it's 28 units to the acre cap on it. Now, we were only ever gonna build 2 buildings. But as you probably know, sometimes when you have a higher zoning category, that can set some precedents for other areas. When we combined all of this, that dropped everything to an ARLD, which has a cap. Now, again, we're still building exactly what we showed you we were gonna build. Just from a zoning category, it drops it to 17 max units to the acre. And that's a big difference from the A1 category. So I think in terms of kind of the precedent setting for this area, the combination is a good thing. And staff saw it that way too, that getting you from that A1 down to ARLD was a good thing. The real, behind the scenes, and just to be really honest, is that we have to combine these parcels because of utilities. And they prefer that they'll be in one zoning district. But in terms of, has anything changed about what we showed you? No, nothing. It's just relabeled. Other questions that can be answered? Oh, I'm sorry. I can see way back there. You're welcome to come up.
Sorry to speak loudly. In the language, which I think we did receive it, I think it's just a slash, like at the very bottom of the logo, but it refers to the owner of sub-area 1 and the owner of sub-area 2. Now, are there different owners right now?
There are. Well, there's actually a lot of owners. In the single family part, all of their lots are owned individually. But in the single family part, everything in terms of open space and maintenance and all that is controlled by the HOA, the Alpine Woods Homeowners Association. The apartment project is owned by Brookfield Compton, I believe is their name, and they maintain their open space and areas. There is a set of deed restrictions between the two entities that has shared costs and shared roadway responsibilities and other things, but they are two separately owned projects. And that's the way it is today. And in the text, we tried to clarify what was the responsibility of the HOA versus what was the responsibility of the apartment owner. And so you see sub-area 1 owner versus sub-area 2 owner.
I have a question. Is this new construction project gonna have any effect on the existing buildings that are there? I just know that so this model kind of picks that you're gonna put in side curbs, more than one type of tree. Just driving through there earlier today, just noticed that the apartment buildings that are there have no curbs, very little to no trees, and just ornamental grass. So I just wondered if you could speak on to that.
I don't have to let go into that one, I don't know.
No, I know this may not come up each and every time we talk to the zoning committee, but I'm Joe Thomas, Method Development. That's a very good point, because the current community has a lot of upgrades that they're going to do as part of this process. So when you notice the trash compactor location, that will be modified. Basically remove the existing structure that surrounds the trash compactor and put a new building around it. Not a building in the sense that, with a rooftop orientation, but 14-foot high, cementitious wall, made of cinder block or slip-face block or block of stone, kind of fabrication with a metal gate in front of it to hide that. With a combination of bulk storage with that new structure, will be new parking as well as asphalt, curb and sidewalk studs, new landscaping throughout the existing community as part of this development. From the standpoint of the ongoing ownership and the maintenance responsibilities, but there's a concern as far as updating those items. And again, most of that stuff is over roughly 12 years old now. And with this new development, with new construction, having the necessarily the resources to have the bulk aspect of purchasing larger amounts of trees, asphalt, concrete, they're able to do that all at one time.
Just quickly, I just had a chance to read the L text, so L being limiting text for the zoning application. Just some background for people who were not able to attend zoning meetings. There was some back and forth between the developer / applicant and the nearby homeowners associations. There are two separate homeowners associations. The homeowners associations dropped their objection to the application based on the commitments that were made by the applicant to those homeowners associations. And the zoning committee voted in favor, assuming on the condition that the commitments were made to the community would be in the LTEX. I just had a chance to read the LTEX as it's presented to us. I would say that it fairly reflects the agreements that were made to the
neighborhood homeowner associations. It provides for annual inspections that the nearby homeowner association can request once per year once per year for tree inspections, and once per year on fence inspections. The owner of this property is now also obligated to maintain a consistent fence with no gaps, and that is also written in as something that we inspect once a year. There are also commitments to additional trees, so one tree planted for every 40 feet building space, all which are enhancements to the current design. I would say that based on the L text that is seen here, it reflects what we had requested as a committee.
And I think I have one more paper copy. I'm happy to pass that off this evening.
Are there any commissioners?
Like yeah. So who's gonna oversee that these things are in place, the trees and stuff? Upkeep of the grass and all those things that are in the text.
So the Alfire Place Homeowners Association will be the managing, end of that. But because it's in our zoning ordinance, the city of Columbus will enforce it for them. So if they call the HOA or the apartment owner and you don't respond for whatever reason, they can go straight to zoning enforcement through the city of Columbus, and then zoning enforcement will find us.
So they, the HOA, yes, okay.
Are there any community questions? Seeing none, I'm going to motion for approval of the application.
Second.
Okay, who's our secretary now?
It's still me.
Okay.
I started, I'm gonna
we'll let
finish
you, Mr. White, call the roll.
Dallas,
Yes.
Kefla,
Yes. Oh. Not.
yes.
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 Bates Fry,
Yes.
Barnacle,
Yes.
Fagan,
Yes.
Josh Maddox,
Yes.
Sean Maddox.
Yes.
Winning. I'm also a yes. Mohammed.
Yes.
Bruno,
Yes.
Kepler,
Yes.
Paxton,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you, everyone. We again appreciate everyone's time.
All right, second application, from zoning, for the. It is, council variance 21-117, that's 2456 West Quad Street. For the commissioners who have been here in the past, this is the same property that was previously being presented as a rehabilitation style housing. It is situated between two car dealer / repair places on West Broad. Was originally built as a single family home, had been used as a funeral parlor, I understand, as well as various other things. I believe it is currently a non-conforming apartment building. I'm not sure if it has any residents right now or not. The zoning request is for a variance. The variance is to allow single family home in a C4 zoning district. So it's an additional use. So based on this application, all the C4 uses were applicable, as well as a single family residence use as a variance.
I'm Jeff Brown, I'm attorney with Smith and Hale. As Patrick has indicated, the property is in C4. There's a historic house on it. If you check on the auditor's website, it says it's a 3-unit apartment building. If you check with the city, they say the record of use is a church. So my client's interested property is a single family house. Family house isn't allowed in C4, so we have filed a council variance to allow that single use to have be able to use the property as a single family house.
I have a question.
Mr. White?
So with this change of use, it wouldn't still allow for someone to run a rehab house out of it if the current owner decides not to sell.
The underlying C4 uses would stay. So if that sort of facility.
It's not
is a
allowed.
Yeah, I don't think that's a C4 use, so you wouldn't be able to do it.
I'm just trying to, from the logistical side of zoning, they wouldn't be able to run a rehabilitation facility under a residential,
No,
zone.
the only use that's being allowed here is a single family dwelling.
But all C4 uses are still applicable.
What did you say?
So all C4 uses are still applicable. So C4, so for people who are new, especially, and they're sort of not familiar with zoning terms, like a bunch of letters and numbers and all of them make any logical sense. So the C stands for commercial, and the 4 is just the number. 4 is one of the highest, most intense commercial uses that are. So most intense meaning that almost everything is allowed under C4. There are categories of things that are not. Specifically, drive-throughs are not allowed in C4. So if you want a drive-through, it would be C5, and instead of C4. But C4 includes various categories. So you can have a bar, you can have a cabaret, you can have what's it called? Used car dealership on C4. There's lots of things that are available on C4. Most things. More intensive industrial uses, however, are not allowed on C4 properties, so those would require to go under N, and be manufactured. And then there's a few other categories that are allowed. One big sticking point on the C category is that although apartments are allowed on C, first floor apartments are not. So that's a big distinction there.
So the rezoning that's happening tonight potentially is exclusively for sale options. This is just so that they can list it as a single family and sell it as a single family. No, like it's not gonna get retrofitted back into a single family. This is just for like sales.
Well, it's not a rezoning. It's a council variance, which is an exception for a specific use. So he wants to sell it as a single family house. You can't sell it, you can sell it. You can't get financing with the bank because the bank will look and say it's owned commercially. So if you have something that you can present to the bank saying a single family use is allowed there, then you'll be able to get your financing.
But the owner wants to be able to sell it as soon as possible.
Yes.
Okay, that's all.
I have multiple emails in opposition to this application, and I don't know if you received any communication about that. So I will read those. Only, is Mary Lupo here? No. Okay, Jeffrey's here. I'll let him have his spots. I'm not gonna read your email aloud, but you're here. We'll get to you in a moment here.
I'll do summation.
I will, however, read one from a community member who lives in New York. And then after I read it, I'm just going to ask a specific question of the applicant to see if it can clarify the things in this letter. Dear Greater Hilltop Area Commission, due to work obligations, I am unable to attend the monthly meeting on January 4th. I'm aware of the applicant is requesting a change from a family dwelling to a single family dwelling. The request has brought to mind many questions due to the property having multiple kitchens with bedrooms and a lounge surrounding each kitchen area. The property is 4,376 total fish area, which is large enough without a backyard or in the front yard. What will a single family home be used for? Will this be a boarding residence? In the past, the Real Estate Solutions LLC was requested the property to be a rehabilitation residence. Is a single family home a method of attempting to have a rehabilitation or boarding residence? How many occupants will be permitted to reside in single family residence? 3, how is the parking structured? How many vehicles will be permitted to be part of this residence? 4, who will be maintaining the property? Currently, we're using the past property as that homes for zoning in that porch, there's office out in the back of the property, which makes the appearances, the deed real estate, so see it's a black coach at the property. The front yard not really mowed on a regular basis, we're trying to pick up, which is traffic coming from the bus stop being located in front of the property. At the same time, businesses should be picking up the tree being located at the property. 5 is change zoning from free family dwelling to single family dwelling asset to the area regarding home values to increase. 6 is this mentioned an enclosed dumpster where it is located or located. I'm not sure if 64 and 2456 share the same dumpster located where properties are currently the dumpster has broken concrete blocks. Surrounding it is not enclosed to be part of 2456 West Broad. The current condition of the area between Eldon and North River Dock West Broad. Every knows this property is located between 2 auto lots, which are not maintaining growth value of the owner properties. They don't want to see it turn continue with 2456 property being zoned. Regardless of how the property is zoned, the current condition of the area is not acceptable. As a homeowner in High West area, since 1.15, and there's the appearance of West Broad between Eldon and North River, you can have the great appearance of other shops containing fulfilling other lots, increase the green area. Vehicles parked on sidewalks, light posts broken down West Broad Street, broken traffic shuttles, etc. Also say local zoning for a single family property for the area where the property increased crime and drug activity will be residing in this large residence. Will the property maintained? Again, I'm not seeing the property maintained nor any of the property. I'd like to answer these questions for this property to be rezoned, the rear yard community should be considering what the potential use of the property will be used for. Rear yard very efficient to be advocating for improved landlord standards and maintaining home favors in single family units. As we know, very few landlords are going to take care of their community. Instead, as a community, we see landlords not maintaining their properties for maintaining historic walls and illegal activity, and tenants who do not assist in maintaining the property. If you use real estate solutions LLCs and will maintain the property of their residents, that will be maintained for residents. Present time, I'm not in favor of the property being rezoned for a single family because I don't know how the property will obtain occupants of this large property along with maintenance of the property. I'll let you see this or give you an opportunity to answer any of the first couple questions.
I never say never, and I guess this is over 40 years, I've never had anybody object to a single family house request, but if you look at the property, if you look at the West Broad Street front, it looks like a old historic single family house. Over the years, I'm assuming various additions were added to the rear. The last one is a concrete block addition at the rear, so I mean that doesn't look very residential, but that's the current situation. So my client has told me he wants to sell the property, he wants to sell it as a single family house. That's the reason that we would file the council variance request around rezoning so the commercial still stays, and we're asking for a single use as a single family dwelling on the property. The parking requirement for a single family house is 2 parking spaces. When I looked at kind of the history of the property, I saw there were issues with code enforcement and everything like that. It would seem to me if this is a way for the property owner to sell it, to get somebody new in there, that would be a positive. So it's been used in the past for a variety of things. Jeff has a longer history in terms of what the uses are. But, you know, having a 3-unit building there, it would seem to me if you turned it into a single family, that would be a better solution to the situation. And that's all we're asking for is allow a single family dwelling unit in the C4 district for this piece of property.
I do have just one follow-up question based on this letter. Is the intention of the variance, so I guess get over to the part of the legal issue here. So under C4, you cannot use it as a apartment building except for second floor residences. Second floor occupancy. First floor occupancy is not permitted under C4.
Correct.
Is the allowance of the single family home a loophole that allows first floor occupancy as well as part of the residential?
No.
It is not.
No. We're asking for a single family. If you would put apartments in there, then that's a whole different mix. And if you want in the conditions, because it's a council variance, so we can put a section in there if it's being used as a single family house, it's a single family house, no apartments above, or whatever language would make the commission be comfortable on that issue.
Okay, so you'd be comfortable putting alt text to.
Well, you wouldn't put an L text, you would put it,
I'll put it in there.
you put it in the variance, you put it as a condition, so if that's your issue or whatever, we don't have a problem. That's not what he tells me he wants to do.
Okay. Mr. White?
I have two. What was the committee vote? And then the second one is there already somebody in line trying to buy this as a single family home? Because this is a lot of work for just to convert it back. Because you can still technically sell it the way it is. It's just, it sounds like you're trying to find somebody or you already have somebody.
He doesn't have it in contract, but the problem that you have, if you get the variance, then you could sell it probably within 30 days. If you find somebody that would want to buy it as a single family, then you have to wait and go through this whole process. So doing this gives him another option and reduces the time that he would take to have a closing.
What was that committee vote?
It was unanimously for 5-0. Any other commissioner questions? Mr. Phillips?
Rachel.
Rachel, sorry. We're all the way back.
So the request for the variance says, the request says, I am currently attempting to secure a mortgage on this property. Who is the applicant who's saying,
Degas Real Estate LLC.
So you do have a buyer that is buying it, but wants to buy it as a
He
single?
told me that he didn't have a contract.
I don't understand how someone who doesn't own the property is applying for variance.
I'm sorry?
How is someone who doesn't own the property applying for variance?
He owns the property.
So he's applying for the variance so he can buy it off of himself that owns the business.
The applicant and the property owner are one and the same.
Correct.
But again, when we were talking about when I said at the beginning, if you're looking at a single family house, if you try to go and get a mortgage to finance it, the bank looks and says it's own C4. So that's a problem. So we've often done this in the past where you have the old commercial districts and have houses like Indianola Avenue or even High Street, where you have historic C4 commercial, but you have houses. And sooner or later, somebody sells or buys and runs into a financing issue with the bank. Some people understand non-conforming, but in this instance, we don't even have non-conforming, at least according to the city. So what this allows it allows a single-family dwelling to be a permitted use on the property. You have a piece of paper that you can show to your buyer, you can show it to a banker, you can show it to anybody who is interested in the property.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. What I don't understand is, I am currently attempting to secure a mortgage on the property. Why is he attempting to secure a mortgage on something he already owns?
Correct.
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, you often refinance, or sometimes you bought it in cash, you would turn around and get a mortgage and be able to take money out. But I don't know that particular issue. He told me he wanted to sell the property.
Is he here tonight for us to ask him?
No.
Okay.
I didn't think there was an issue after the 2-minute hearing at the zoning committee.
How long has he owned the property?
I don't know that.
I have a quick question. I also saw that in the application, and I'm wondering if the confusion is from, you spoke to the applicant.
Yes.
Is he able to say property?
It is a little difficult to converse. I wouldn't say that he is fluent in English.
Because it could be poorly articulated, that he may not personally want a mortgage, but somebody buying it does, or would buy it, would need it. The way it's written, it indicates to me the person might not speak English as a first language. And I'm saying that answers the question, but. No, but I mean, that's the fact. I mean, whoever's gonna buy this or get a mortgage, the issue that you have with a mortgage company is they're gonna look and it says C4 and they're gonna say, well, how are we protected if the building burns down? Well, if you get a council variance, which we've done a lot in the past in this instances, then you have a piece of paper that you can show the mortgage company and they can understand that because it says single family house is permitted. So then you can get your mortgage.
So just a point of clarification. I tried to buy a home that was classified as C4 on West Broad in 2018 that did have a rental unit on the second floor. But because I was applying for a FHA loan secured by the government, I was not allowed to buy that property because of the way that it is zoned. I just given all the information tonight, the fact that there is no set actual plan on what this single resident building or family is going to be, I just don't understand changing it now, if that makes sense, especially given the fact that everything around it is commercial and that is the only home on that side of the street and the street across of it within a 2-block radius that you want to make a single family home.
Well, it has the existing structure on it. I mean, typically, I would be coming in here to knock it down and put something in C4, and then somebody would say, well, this is a historic building, you ought to rehab it or whatever. So what he's trying to do is put it in the proper position. And, the question is, do you do it now or do you have to wait 90, 120 days when you actually get somebody in contract? This allows him to go market it and go sell it, get a mortgage, whatever on the property. And the reason we're asking for it is because if you look at it, it's a single family, it is built as a single family house. So that's the reason to get the request. And it's not changing the zoning, so it's a council variance. So if, for example, let's say he changes his mind in 2 months and wants to do something else, that's fine. The underlying zoning is still there. And if he wants to do a residential care or something like that, then he'll have to take another action and come in front of the area commission.
How many kitchens did you say were in there?
There's probably, well, since it was leased as I think there's probably 3. It says there was a 3-unit dwelling on the auditor. But those are just existing, those aren't rehab plans or anything, if you notice it says existing.
Oh, yeah, that's the second part too, is this is already a very specific historic building that you're asking to be rezoned residential without somebody in mind who's already wanting to buy it. I feel like whoever is going to buy this, are you gonna renovate it after you get it rezoned to residential? Or is it just gonna be sold as is? Because either way, I feel like that building itself is gonna require a lot of work from anybody who's either going to buy it. So I don't think that their biggest hurdle is, oh no, it's not zoned residential. That just seems like a very minute little bump to get over when you're talking about renovating a 4,000 square foot facility in a commercial area.
Well, time's money, if you talk to anybody in terms of getting the mortgage and moving forward, this allows it to go. I mean, it was built as a single family house. It's had numerous additions on it. It's had numerous uses in the property. All we're asking for is a variance to allow what it was originally built for, which was a single family house.
I think a lot of our concerns, my concern is that we don't have more C4 property. So the idea that we're going to let this and let a potential buyer take up a conventional single family loan onto buy something without the assumption of understanding how much money or what liquidity they're going to have to reinvest into the home. That's the concern.
Well, if the property isn't maintained, you have code enforcement and the actions that you can follow up. With that, if it gets really bad, you've got the city attorney's office stepping in.
Well, right.
But the thing that makes this so unusual is that it was built originally as a single-family house. You know, if you just had a brick structure there, this wouldn't make any sense. It has that look because that's what it was built as originally. Now, it's been added to and everything, but all we want to do is allow a use that the structure was originally built for on the property.
Well, wait, is it listed what year? What year would change?
Yeah.
So like 19, most of it's like 1920.
I don't know if I've got the order.
It was,
Here's the historical project.
Last time we were here, the whole historical workup on it. You know, they were coming to.
One of the questions was, how long has the property been owned by the current owner? Since October 2017.
What is the reason for the request for variance versus the request for rezoning to residential? Just because it's easier?
No, the city wouldn't support a residential zoning on West Broad Street in that area, given that everything else is zoned in C4. So when he had his initial conversation with the city, they said do it as a council variance.
Yeah. I don't understand. You could read it, yeah. I'll read it after everyone else has done, right? Yeah. So you have that one saying good. That way I'll read it. I can't do that at this, so I'll. Still need to hold it for you? I need a podium. Anyway.
It would be useful if you stood here so you can be on the
It's fine,
camera.
let's just keep going.
I don't
Let's
think
just
we
keep
have
going.
that kind of
Let's
time.
just keep going. I'm fine. I'm supposed to be out
I
there.
agree with
All right. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay. This property has been in front of this body as BZA 19-1 CV 20-032. This case is locating treatment in the first initial application in 2019. It ended up as being a place for folks in treatment to live as an improvement. Both were rejected and both were subsequently withdrawn and did not go into hearing. Now, all of a sudden, this property is back in front of you under this current case, CV 21-117, which originally asked for allowance for a residential use unspecified in a commercial area. We were told there was a hardship placed upon the owner that Daggett Real Estate is being denied a mortgage on the property because it's a non-conforming use, saying the property is a residence. The truth is, this is a 4-unit apartment dwelling, not a single-family residence. Before Michael Schreck passed away, he and I had a discussion. We were going to try to get that former chapel to use as our Highland West Civic Association meeting space. And he told me he originally converted it into a three unit, 2 up and 1 down, but he was going to go ahead and convert that whole area where you see a kitchenette and all that other stuff. Do they all have a picture of the drawing? Because I have a feeling that Jeffrey may not have gotten everything from the client. But anyway, looking up the records, the current architect is only certified for 1, 2, and 3 unit conversions. That is important because it would come under a different part of the code book, so safety could be compromised in this conversion because it's a 4-family. Doing it as a 3-family probably also saves a great deal of money, as it probably requires fewer permits to be pulled. And even a greater note, this type of conversion, once it converts, it's no longer covered under the Federal Housing Act. Neighbors, including myself, have seen little to no activity at this building for many months, and it is sitting there
presumably vacant, basically abandoned. In July of 2021, this applicant went to the Permits and Building Services Department and applied for final certificate of occupancy under 123 family. To date, no inspections have been ordered or made, and the file remains open. They also filed a proposed floor plan, which I have here. Can you put their floor plan? Does everyone have a copy of the floor plan? You do? Okay. The floor plan was done in March of 2021. When our association made an inquiry last month with the city, we were referred to this file and these drawings that go with this variance that's in front of you. This drawing has been available for a long time, but it was now presented to any of us at the zoning meeting last month. Had it been, I would have voted no, and I'm sure others would have been voted no as well. It would be fair to say, well now, and to Jeffrey's credit here, he did file a new page 1 and he did clarify it's a single family use. But what does that mean? And don't say single family use. It would be fair to say that the definition of single family residential is very creatively applied not only in Highland West, but in neighborhoods throughout the Hilltop. Many things that are single family structures within Highland West are zoned residential for single family use. However, that does not mean that that is what occupies the structure. We have uses ranging from what would be considered rooming houses where people live together, pay rent for the rooms, share the common area similar to Al DeSantis and all those campus properties during the 80s, all the way to sober houses. So on and so forth.
Jeffrey, can you summarize?
Huh?
Can you summarize at this point?
Well, often these arrangements have caused lots of problems with excessive traffic, severe crunches in parking, not to mention all-night parties and noise along with potential devaluation of the property surrounding. We have the same worries for 2456 West Broad. From what it looks like, the Dagus real estate people already have homes. So if these 4 units once again become just one big house, and from that drawing there, how many single families have 4 kitchens? How many single families actually have those many rooms which are not specified as far as what they're used for? I can accept 2 kitchens because I know my Jewish friends have kosher kitchen and they have regular kitchen. I would assume my Islam friends have the same. You just have 1 kitchen. It's much easier, less to clean. There are 4 bedrooms, but then the back part of the house is still there, but it's not really connected. So this whole project deals with root cutting the doors in that Mike Schreck put back. And because of this, given the history of what the current owner has done in the past, we have a right to be concerned and suspicious about this application, especially with all the lack of candor that we've had in the past, and even now with this elusive drawing. I want to be clear. We would welcome a true single-family house. Any of the members in the Dagus real estate group are welcome to move in with their families there and be with us. And even looking at the experts that have been employed in this case, hired one of the best attorneys in the city that deals in this type of thing, should not be required if all you're going to do is a single family use. We would all be in favor of that. So under the circumstances, in light of what we see, what we've been presented, on behalf of the Highland West Civic Association, of which I'm president, we ask you at this time to vote no on this application.
Thank you. Oh, just short. What I handed out to the zoning subcommittee is the same information that I handed out to the full commission, which included the internal site plan. I don't know what the past history is. I can't do anything about that or whether the property is being maintained, et cetera. My client called me and said, I want to use this as a single family house. He talked to the city, they said, file a council variance, which he did. Then he called me and said, would you take over the application? So all we're asking for is a use that the building was originally built for in the C4 district. And if you want to put some conditions in terms of not having apartments above it or on the first floor or anything like that, I have no problem with that, because what my client has asked me to get is the right to use it as a single family dwelling. And that's the only thing we're asking.
Mr. Jones, one thing I forgot to make, back to that picture of the diagram. There's a spa area in the back. It contains 2 areas which would fit group showers. It has a middle section for grooming. How many homes need that when you already have 5 or 6 bathrooms in that place? Again, I ask you to look at all of the facts in front of you and come up with a realistic summation of what, I mean, if you believe that, then it's fine, but I'm sorry, I don't believe that at this point.
There is finally another letter in opposition. It's kind of cumulative, we're running low on time. I will just kind of give briefly the highlights. This is from Mary Lupo. Is opposition because of the belief that the changing the zoning to allow single family occupancy will make it burden for the city the city to do zoning inspections. It would exempt it from the Fair Housing Act, which prevents discrimination in housing. And there's issue with increasing the illegal occupancy rates, failure of necessary orders to address routine maintenance issues, engaging residential structures, and for discrimination. In severity of these conditions cannot be estimated hard to imagine somebody who's lived their life in reasonably sound housing. City code enforcement cannot inspect residential property with serious code violations or serious occupancy violations without permission of the inhabitants to enter the property. I personally witnessed tenants who were arrested without running water, who also forces generators supply with electricity, and refuse entrance by city homes code enforcement. Other concerns about landlords running it, and basically the biggest issues here deal with renting the property, and this is not owner occupied, it's unclear how the requested finance would influence change occupancy. There is also, it appears to be some doubt of the intended use of the property. So, applicant, do you want us to vote this tonight, or would you like to make amendments to your application based on the feedback you've given for us to vote on?
I'm happy that whatever language you're comfortable with, that this isn't a subterfuge to make it apartments, above the first floor, or apartments on the first floor. We're not asking for a boarding house. We're asking for a single specific use, a single family house.
Okay. So,
So anything that's to make you all more comfortable and supportive of this being able to be used as a single family house, let's put it in there, because that's what he told me he wants, and that's what I'm asking for.
New drawings that show it's a single family home with 4 bedrooms like they have.
so I based on I think this discussion is not over, basically, and we're running all the time. So I'm going to move to refer this to committee. So we can come back to the third Tuesday at this month at the Hilltop Library, so that we can discuss the LTEX, or the variance test, sorry, to meet.
Well, you have to tell me what you want.
Yeah, right. So basically, we want you to come to zoning to kind of hash it out a little bit, but I think what we're hearing from the community, I think might dissuade the commissioners, is just prohibition on multi-unit residents. Prohibition on first floor occupancy and boarding housing, and
Cabarets and everything else that you can do in the C4.
And what?
Cabarets, that'd be a great place to go.
Pretty much on the table, or?
Yeah, so it's a motion to move to committee.
I'll second.
like a roll.
We should probably should roll.
Well, this is a motion to send back to committee. You're voting yes in the affirmative. Dallas?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. I promise I'll get it. I just, every time I see it, I'm like, that's not how I'm sorry. Bates Fry?
Yes.
Barnacle?
Yes.
Fagan?
Yes.
Josh Maddox?
Yes.
Sean Maddox?
Yeah.
Winning? Also gonna be a yes. Mohammed?
Yes.
Bruno?
Yes.
Kepler?
Yes.
Klein? Paxton?
No.
Motion passes. Back to committee.
Thank you. So Patrick, I'm gonna ask that we make sure that we get this scheduled as a meeting so that people can have all commissioners try to participate in the meeting. This is gonna come back to the full commission meeting. I think this is an opportunity. We're gonna have more of our zoning requests coming in front of us in this coming year. So I think it's really tough when you are sitting as a commissioner and not on the zoning committee, you know, to get up to speed, you know, in the water community with this. So I encourage you to, either log in Zoom or have a recording watch later so that you can get some of the details of the zoning.
I will need somebody to bring the camera and set it up to the side. That's beyond my element.
Yeah, we can make sure. Great. All right, on to business, and we have, it's 8:48, so, we have a appointed seat that's open. We have one for section office. So I'm going to open the floor for, nominations for the appointed seat. So let's start. Victoria Klein, who couldn't be here, asked if I could read the following, but, Victoria wishes to nominate Malik Moore. He quickly became involved with the Hilltop area, he was involved with schools in our community. Malik first reached out to share his support and interest. When she was running for GHAC, I didn't recall. I was impressed with his desire to become involved with the Hilltop area after only living around herself. I think it's time we just continue commission is valuable as well as its experience in our school system.
So who's nominating him for?
I'm going to nominate Malik Moore for the appointees.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Goodman. The reason I nominate her is not just because of her current service with the commission, but actually it's because of her work with My Project USA. I think it's really important that we have members of the community who are not eligible to run for the elected seats, who represent nonprofits like My Project USA or some other institutional such and such. That is the point of the appointed seat. She represents a perspective that pretty much nobody except perhaps Mr. Mohammed really has. Very few of us are English as second language speakers. Very few of us are immigrants. A lot of people do know this about me. My wife is a refugee. And so I know how difficult it is to uproot your entire life and to come to this country and to resettle here. And we have a very large refugee community that is here in the Hilltop, is underrepresented in a lot of different ways, is underserved. Ms. Abed works with them every single day of her life, is her life's mission. And she cannot sit here as an elected member. She cannot run for election because she does not live here, even though she works here, even though living for this nonprofit that she runs is right here on top, even though the people that she serves are right here on top. The perspective that Ms. Abed gave us for the Wedgewood housing complex when that issue came before this commission was invaluable. Because none of us really know what goes on there. because she doesn't live there either, but she goes to that complex over and over, meeting with property managers and meeting with people, the residents, to try to serve them. It is really, really important that we have different voices and different perspectives, and it's so important. Her voice is so important, I really appreciate her coming here.
So tonight I am nominating Nicholas Bates. Nick is a resident of Westgate. He moved to Hilltop neighborhood in August of 2007 with his wife Katie. He is an ordained Lutheran deacon and graduate of Capital University Law School and Trinity Lutheran Seminary. Currently, he serves as the director of the Hunger Network in Ohio, a network of faith communities addressing root causes of poverty through public policy advocacy. He is also the budget and tax policy director at Ohio Voice, where he works on the breadth of state policy issues with a focus on revenue and tax policy. Let's see. So yeah, Nick is well known amongst our neighborhood for being part of Westgate Group, which is a group club. And I'm very active on the Westgate Elementary School PCA.
Hi everyone, I am pleased tonight to be nominating Chelsea Clinton. I have the pleasure of getting to know her more in the last couple of months. As a colleague, as a neighbor, I am let her speak for herself. That I will nominate her tonight. I know she's anxious to be involved in community areas and capacities and community members and as a community member. So I'm going to cut my remarks short because maybe we're running out of time.
So what I'm gonna do is, each person that's been nominated for this appointment, sit like in 2 minutes to just address the group. Like, you can stand up here if it's possible. Would you start?
Yep. All right, good evening, commissioners and everyone that's present. Thank you all for coming out. Before I speak, I want to kind of contextualize what I feel like we're experiencing. And this is a great gift, right? There's 4 of us appointed for 1 seat. An area of the city that we would think is underserved with 4 people eager to serve. I'm happy for anyone to fill the seat, and I'd actually serve whether or not I get this role. What I want is to be engaged in my community, and I will never run away from an opportunity to serve, but I'm not going to fight to get a seat or to serve, right? The work is there one way or another. So I'm excited, I'm grateful, and I just want to see the process play itself out. Thank you.
So 2 minutes to do this, so I'm going to try to be focused. I am the founder and executive director of My Project USA, and I also have served as a WA coach for 3 years, 1 year for public safety chair. I have dedicated my life, thank you for saying that, last 7 years. I was able to work 18 hours a day or so. We're able to serve 180,000 lives, 4 million fees and snacks, 2 million investment in Hilltop area while I don't live here and have been accused that I take this fee for nothing or some kind of personal gains. I also want to say that the youth center and the food market that we have started is so much needed. And I am so worried for the youth right now, for the circumstances as they are changing, with less youth centers, building those, school building vehicles, and other issues. The main issue that I have worked in the last 7 years is helping with gang violence and homicides. It was the deadliest location, it was called the Ledgewood, which is now a normal neighborhood, and the police does not come as often as they used to come almost every single day there. And that is because of the Hilltop Tigers program that is done by Aina Muhammad right here, and that is what we want to continue. I want to say that I did not think that I would run for this seat again or ask for appointment, but I learned by the hard way that the work I'm doing with the Trans Summit that we did and the Hilltop Sustainability Ambassador program that we are working on, all of that work that I have done in the past 3 years, especially last year, to continue it being a commissioner helps a lot. And that is the only reason in the last 3 months I thought about it, and I thought that if I want to push a cause, this will help in the city, in the city council and others, and that's the only reason. Just like Molly, anybody who will fill this seat, I continue working and I will support that too. Thank you so much.
Good evening, my name is Nick Bates. It is a pleasure to be here and be considered for this position. And Grant, I want to thank the committee for finding such great candidates, and it's truly humbling and an honor to be considered for this appointed seat tonight. I have lived in the Hilltop since 2007 and been actively involved and through my statewide advocacy work. One of the biggest things that I've learned is that my best days aren't when I'm out there testifying or meeting with legislators. It is when I create the opportunities and help. I spent many years working with homeless and transitional youth, and when I was able to take them to Washington, D.C. and watch them share their story, present their ideas on solutions, those were the days that I really got jazzed up and excited. When I have helped folks who have been struggling with food security to go and talk to the media and understand and get prep for the questions that they're going to be asked, those are the days that really make me know that I'm doing good work when I can help other people to share their story and help remove those barriers. As I look at the way I would lead on the commission and some of the work I'm interested in doing, is how do we bring those people together, find those local leaders. I've been involved with our Westgate Elementary School PTA, and we did this thing recently where we went, bought lunch for all the teachers, and we sat down and talked to them to say, what do you all need? We also did it with parents and asked them, what do you think we need? We now have 2 lists. So as me and the other members of our fundraising committee look at what we want to fundraise for, we have a very comprehensive list of the needs at our school. What would happen if we had those same conversations at all the schools in the Hilltop and brought them all together, and then we're able to go to the city and the state and federal representatives with those ideas? So that's one of the things that I really want to bring to this table and to these conversations. I will acknowledge, because I think we need more people who look like me to recognize that we need diversity on these task forces, on these commissions, and I don't bring that necessarily. But I have spent since 2004 energy trying to listen and to be an ally on racial and gender and other issues. So, thank you, sir.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chelsea Wolfman. Thank you all for being here. It's an honor to be considered amongst this great group of people. I'm pretty much in the same boat as everyone else, where I want to be here to be a voice for people who can't be here. My background, I've been on my own since I was 15. I've been homeless, and so it's really going to folks who sure they want to be here, but a lot of them are working 2 jobs in the evening. So that is what I would like to do, is speak for those and be a voice on this commission, to speak from my experience. I currently work for the state legislature, and through the last 5 years working in the Senate, I have found myself more experience in creating creative funding streams for initiatives, and I've done a lot of work in anti-human trafficking, which is a big issue in our community. I do a lot of community outreach on my own for the homeless communities, and as I said, that's a personal issue for myself. I believe that if I were to get this position, I would love to bring my experience and help bring more resources to the area, and also help individuals out there that need help get connected to those resources. Again, they usually don't know they exist, or they're out of reach to those that they're meant to be there for. But either way, I'm here. This opportunity has already connected me with some great folks in the crowd that are doing work on these exact issues, and we're already connected. And so regardless of what happens today, you'll see more of me. I'd love to serve on a lot of the committees that I've heard mentioned, listening to the work you're all doing. I really just want to add to that, and again, speak for those that maybe can't get here. But again, any of the candidates would be great, and it would be a hard pick if I had to choose. So good luck, everybody, and I look forward to working with all of you.
are fortunate to have 4 really qualified people for this appointment. So let me explain how this is going to go. We're going to vote. We're going to take a roll vote. So James will go to each person. We have 14 commissioners here right now. Is that correct? 13. I'm going to count 13. So we're going to take a roll vote. So James will ask you who you want to vote for. During the first round, if we don't have a majority, then we will take the person with the least amount of votes, exclude them from the next roll, and then vote for the next 3 until we have a majority. So majority would be 7 votes for one candidate. If we agree upon all that in the first roll, then we'll have an appointed seat. If not, we'll continue to go through voting for each round. So, any questions?
A few of us are going to be keeping tallies, so if there are any conflicts, I'll couple them.
Dallas.
Zerka.
Kiflet.
Kiflet. Bates Fry.
Malik Moore.
Barnacle.
Zebed.
Fagan.
Malik Moore.
Josh Maddox.
Malik Moore.
Sean Maddox.
Zerka.
Winning. I'm also going to vote for Zerka. Mohammed. Bruno.
Chelsea.
Kepler.
Malik.
Klein. Paxton.
Malik.
So it was 6 for Malik, 5 for Zerka, and 2 for Chelsea. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
6 for the league, 5 for Zerka, and 2 for Chelsea.
Yep.
We can introduce our next roll, and so the 3 candidates, Malik Moore, Zerka, and Chelsea. Gold term.
Dallas. Abid. Kefla. Kefla. Sorry.
Malik.
Bates Fry.
Malik.
Barnacle. Fagan.
Malik Moore.
Josh Maddox.
Malik.
Sean Maddox.
Zerka.
Winning. White, I'm also going to go for Zerka. Mohammed. Zerka. Bruno.
Chelsea.
Kepler.
Malik.
Paxton.
Malik.
So the link has 7. Zerka has 5. And then Chelsea is 1.
So just as a second number, we have 7 votes, Zerka has 5, and Chelsea has 1. So at this point, the majority is voted for the league. Properly appointed seats.
My first graduate mark. I also wanted to, I said this all in this, I emailed this to everyone. We did recently update our bylaws to allow for committee appointments to non-commissioners, including voting rights as allowed by committee chairs. All of you have expressed interest in still being members of the committee, which is why I'm especially excited for this to propose. So I wanted to remind you of that. We would love to see a committee meeting, we would love to see a commission meetings. And we'll see all of that.
Thank you. So just summarize a couple of things before the announcements, which we will go through very quickly. New commissioners and some of us have been around a while, profiles are on our website. So make sure you download those and read those as soon as you can. So we don't have an email specifically for Gmail, Gmail is the number of email service. I do want to apologize for everybody on the commission, so if you will send me, maybe one of my full email address, if you don't have it, but everybody's email address or phone number, make sure that we share with everybody on the commission. And then I would like to send you an email because in our bylaws, we need to establish who's going to be which committees by our next meeting. I'd like to make that announcement in February. So send me an email, every commissioner, with the top 3 committees that you would like to be on. You don't have to state three, if you can select up to 3. Right, so all of the committees are in our bylaws, they're specifically listed there on our website. There's charters of most of the committees that are on there. We've developed about what those committees are supposed to do, and what their kind of routine business is. So all of that can be on there. So any questions about any of those? I will pull the email address and have it go after that. And then with just, there's 2 things left on the agenda. January 8, 2022, what time town hall? What do you want to say about that?
Yes, I will. Thank you. So, many of you have this flyer, we have more flyers there, this is on Facebook also. So this is the Top Youth Social Justice Collaborative, which is mainly organized for 4 points that is on the flyer listed very clearly. That we are asking for immediate capital and programming investment into youth center and recreation spaces for youth, Hilltop youth in all over the Hilltop. Columbus Promise Tuition is basically promised, tuition-free college is promised to Columbus School District students only. We are saying that the High School and all others who are attending Southwestern District School, they are not going to be covered for free college tuition, so we are asking that city and the county consider that. Proactive planning for the Columbus City School buildings, then we are also asking that city talks to the school district now and start talking it now, so in 2 years or so, we will have repurpose of those buildings into youth centers and community centers instead of having abandoned buildings. At that time, when the Hilltop youth organizations control on all these centers, because right now they are controlled, the recreation centers are being controlled by city staff, and they are being booked for people who are not living in Hilltop in many cases. So those are the main things we have asked other organizations, reached out to them. Right now, as we see, Hilltop Greater Hilltop Area Shalom Zone has been a part of this, but by Community Hope Foundation, Highland Youth Garden, and I'm asking GHAC to also be, formal collaborator and partner in this. The collaborator and also being a co-host of this event, which is on this Saturday. We are organizing it on urgent basis because the capital funding is being discussed both in county and city halls now. So we want to make sure that we bring the mayor, the council members and commissioners to our district now, and the community members can voice their opinion. I have sent out invitations to all city council members, mayor, commissioners. We know that mayor is not attending, we already heard from them. We know that some council members are planning. So far it is going to be a hybrid event, but we are really closely watching and we have a full option of participation through online. So that's my request is that GHAC, now that I'm not on commission anymore, I was hoping that public safety could take a real lead in this event. But now, it's all up to Greater Area Commission, how you guys want to participate and how you go forward. Thank you.
Any other commissioners have any other announcements? We're going to make them quick.
Thank you. So I just wanted to announce a webinar that I'm facilitating with my nonprofit Black Building Sanctuary, and it's about turning pain into a purpose. And it's going to be a panel discussion webinar, so it's safe. with some founders of some nonprofits who actually do a lot of work in the hilltop as well. Melissa Thomas, who is the founder of Mothers of Murder Criminal Children. Deion Green, whose father was killed in Dayton during the mass shooting. And Adrian Hood, who is involved with the organization that against police brutality. So it's Saturday as well, 3 to 4, the webinar. I'll send out some information. I don't know how to get that, but get that out to everyone, that it is crucial. It's about putting pain into purpose against violence.
Any other announcements?
Just that the Highland Youth Garden is planning a community cleanup, over around their garden. It's currently scheduled for, I believe, noon to 2 on Martin Luther King Day, so on the 17th. I do have a flyer. I will send that out, and we'll probably get it on Facebook as well. I'm just waiting to see if anything has changed.
Any announcements from the community at all? I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Congratulations. Yeah, I do.
Oh, she's back here.
You know how we could,